Recording started.
Hello, this is a briefing of the ballot counter's role for the National Management Association's High School Leadership Speech Contest. The main function of the ballot counters are to collect the ballots and the timekeeper reports, convert the judges' scores into ranking, and summarize those rankings to determine the outcome of the contest. So let's look at the forms and walk through the process step by step. At the beginning of the contest, you'll be given a list of judges' names. That way, when the speaking portion of the contest is done, you'll know how many judges to collect ballots from. The chief judge will have a tiebreaker ballot, and it will be in an envelope marked tiebreaker. So you'll collect those ballots, and you'll collect the timekeeper's report. The timekeeper will list the minutes and seconds that each competitor spoke, and they'll circle those that went below the minimum of 3 minutes 50 seconds or above the maximum of 6 minutes 20 seconds. Once you go into the ballot counting room, you will assess penalty points for any that they've circled as going above or below the limits. Here are the penalty points. Speaker A spoke below the minimum, 2-point penalty. Speaker C spoke well beyond the maximum, 5-point penalty. And Speaker J spoke somewhat beyond the maximum, a 2-point penalty. So let's look at the judges' ballots. The judges will come up with scores for each student and then total those scores. The first judge was very generous and gave top scores to all the students A through E, and also gave very high scores to F through J. The slot for Speaker K was not used because that speaker did not show up on that night. When this judge totaled up her scores, she found that she had ties. She had a 5-way tie for first place and a 5-way tie for second place. And rather than turn it in that way, she scratched out some of those scores and gave a different total based on her impressions of the speech. So we don't question how she decided to come up with that. Whatever she came up with, that's her total score. But we are going to assess the penalty points for Speaker A, C, and J. You'll do this manually, but I have a spreadsheet here, so I'll just use those capabilities. All right, let's look at Judge B. You'll notice Judge B gave very low scores to all the students. That's okay, because the contest is not won by highest score, it's won by highest total rankings. So let's get those penalty deductions in and recalculate the scores. Judge C's ballot had a couple of weird things about it. He, for some reason, did not enter the final scores for F and G, and he entered only the final score for H, I, and J. Again, we're not going to concern ourselves with how he came up with those numbers, but we do need to add up the numbers for F and G. And I've already done it quite a few times, so I will enter 85 and 80. Penalty points. And summarize. Now that we have these numbers, we need to turn them into rankings. I have already provided the chief judge with a spreadsheet that I created. It's based on all the same rules that are in the contest guide, but it's just done in such a way that you only have to enter the judge's final scores, and it will automatically calculate the rankings and then summarize the rankings to come up with the contest total. So let's get those numbers in. I'd like you to enter the judges' names, and that way if there's any question and we have to refer back, then we know which scores went with which ballot. I'm imagining that during the contest, one ballot counter will be calling out the numbers and another one will be typing them into this spreadsheet. All right, almost done. Copy. Okay. Now you'll notice that after the scores were entered in the first grid, grid A, they were automatically converted into rankings in grid B. So we've got the highest score is ranked at 11. That's based on 11 students being in the contest. Next highest is 10. Next highest is 9. For Crispin, we see that he had a tie for first place. So since we couldn't give an 11 and a 10, both of the ones who tied got a 10. That's according to the official rules. Notice that the top 3 for each judge are highlighted, and those ones that were highlighted are brought down to the grid C. We're going to tally the top 3 for all the judges to come up with the contest result. Now in this case, Speaker D is clearly the third place winner, but Speaker B and C have tied. So now we'll need to go to the tiebreakers ballot and see what the tie-breaking judge ranked those students as. We're only going to look at Speaker B and C because those are the ones that are tied. She ranked them 8 and 5. 8 and 5. Now we have a clear first, second, and third place winner, B, C, and D. So you'll fill that information out on the contest results form. The chief judge will sign it, and you'll give that to the contest director. That's me. I will use those names to letters to cross-reference to the students' names, fill that out, sign it, and give it to the Master of Ceremonies so he can announce the contest winners. Now about the judges' tally, there is also a spare copy. We have the ready-to-use form and the spare copy. If anything happens while you're filling out the form and you get it messed up, you can go to the spare copy. You'll also have a form on paper. You can perform all these same functions on paper. It's just that it would be, easier, quicker to use the spreadsheet, but you can use either. If there's any questions during the contest, please call me into the ballot counters room. I'll be happy to help. And that ends the briefing. Thank you very much for volunteering. I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on the night of the contest.